When they laid me off, a weight was lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah.
I was so happy. You have no idea.
Hello and welcome to the Why Design podcast. I'm your host, Chris White, and in this series we explore the career journeys of design and engineering leaders from the world of physical product development. Today's episode is with Jordan Diatlo, founder of Leadoff Studio in New York. Jordan launched his consultancy right after being laid off, just weeks before his first child was born, and has since built it into a go-to studio for health and wellness brands. In this conversation, we break down how to scale a design business without losing creative control, the 5 values Jordan uses to hire and grow his team, why choosing a niche can unlock bigger opportunities. So if you want to understand what it really takes to build a design consultancy that lasts, this episode is packed with lessons. So let's jump into my conversation with Jordan Diatlo from Leadoff Studio. Jordan Diatlo, welcome to Why Design. We're in our kind of temporary home here in Manhattan, New York, but you usually make the journey. You've come from home, haven't you? But over in Long Island, Queens, New York is where your studio is.
Long Island City.
Island City.
I know you're coming from out of town. It's okay. New Yorkers,
spot the
we
Brit
can be nice.
And so far, so good. Yeah. So I'm just going to quickly introduce you for those of people who are listening that don't know who you are. But so you're the founder and principal designer at Leadoff Studio, based over in Long Island City, Queens, New York. You've been running the studio since 2016. And on today's show, we're going to just dig into your design journey, what the studio stands for, some of the projects you've taken on, how you're thinking about long-term growth, culture, and working with clients in a way that actually lasts. Sound good?
Awesome.
Cool.
Excited to chat with you.
Let's dive in, shall we? So, as with every episode of Why Design, we always start with why design? You know, what drew you into design in the first place? You know, I can see that you studied at Carnegie Mellon and Florence Design Academy, unless I got that completely wrong.
No, that's it.
But yeah, what first drew you into ID?
Full disclosure, when I went to CMU, I was 1,000% sure I would be a graphic designer. Growing up, I was always, back in those days, I won't say I'm old. We're about the same age.
Yeah,
so,
we're definitely not old.
Yeah, not old. Always messing around with like Microsoft Publisher. Back in those days, like I'm a 90s kid.
Yeah.
Always doing my own things and doing like just teaching myself design. And then when I got to high school, started doing Photoshop classes and started learning graphic design there. Eventually I was this is really long journey, but editor of the high school yearbook. And that was my first taste of getting to lead a design team. And I think that's where things really clicked for me and probably put me on my trajectory to where I am today. But coming out of that, I had learned a little bit about ID and probably didn't learn enough because I just didn't really like what I had been exposed to at that point. But when I went to see them, they put graphic designers, or what they call communication design, and ID on the same track in the first year.
Okay.
So everybody's just a design student. Through that year, I was exposed to projects that dealt with both, and then dealt with just graphic design and dealt with just industrial design. And the things that were really appealing to me were the 3-dimensional problem solving. And that's when, throughout the year, it was like a slow build. And then when we had to register for sophomore year and decide which track to officially choose, I had this like existential crisis. Like, I was so sure I would be graphic designer, but I didn't really like those projects. The industrial design ones, that kind of like, hit my brain the right way. And that's kind of what you want out of design. And I think that's why so many people do design or want to do design, is because that problem solving, it's just a really enjoyable process, and getting the results and doing it with just a little style too. Like that's what I love. I always think of it as problem solving with style. Yeah, that's kind of what led me to it when I was a freshman. Of course, my journey was only beginning at that point, but that's really when I chose to do that.
It's interesting. I was just thinking as you were talking, our kind of educational kind of tracks kind of seemed fairly aligned up until that moment where we both went to university, because I was like quite graphics kind of heavy. I did Photoshop. I used to really enjoy putting together like the early social media kind of covers for our friendship groups and the MySpace page, and in fact I remember being part of, they called it Young Enterprise. It was like a side project at school where you had to start a business, and we did really well. We created the school was really good for productions. Like I think they were doing a production of Grease. And we did the program for it. So and I project managed that and did some of the graphics for it, and the layout was like the editor. And then it all went downhill because then I studied management. I think I got the bug I enjoyed the graphics, but I enjoyed the management, the project management side.
Yeah.
And then my track took me kind of down to sales and recruiting. Whereas yours sounds like a lot more fun.
I think there's still parallel path in the management. I kind of see it as like the orchestrator. You're pulling all these pieces together and weaving all these people together who are really good at their parts, helping them come together in a way that the sum is always greater than the parts, right?
Oh, huge. Yeah. I mean, it's cheesy, but teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you got to see my studio's core values, and I always introduce one of our core values is team. Yeah. Together, everyone achieves more. And absolutely. I don't know if this is a real thing, but I got it from it clicked for me, I'll say, watching the HBO show about the Lakers.
Okay.
Where Magic Johnson is a rookie, but he says that to the team before they go play in the finals or something. Yeah. I always think of like the Showtime Lakers having the best teamwork and the best ball movement, getting everybody involved. Everybody's participating and everybody's having fun and they're winning. So I'm a big sports fan, especially basketball.
Yeah, I'll take the analogy further for the UK listeners. Okay. Leicester City, kind of a few seasons ago, in 2016 they won the Premier League, but the year before they were like facing relegation, and they certainly didn't have the best kind of individual players in the league. They certainly didn't have the highest paid players. But what they had was a manager that kind of brought them together for teamwork, and they got each other and they worked super well. And then they were like underdogs. People made thousands of pounds betting on them because it's like a 500 to 1 shot that they'd win at the start of the season. Yeah,
and that's the best when the sum is greater than the parts, right?
Huge. So. I mean, they're doing dreadful now, but it's. Oh, fantastic. Talk us through kind of your career journey then, from those early days. Obviously, you mentioned that, a bit of existential crisis. It's not graphic design anymore, it's ID. You had early roles with Stephen Barry's, Jimlar and Pollen Design, Quirky for a few years as well.
Yeah, so Stephen Barry's, for those who remember, came out with the Starberry sneaker. Stephon Marbury, he was a basketball player. I think at the time he was on the Knicks, but more importantly, he was this guy from Coney Island, homegrown New York hero. Yeah. He partnered with Stephen Barry's to come out with a $20 basketball shoe. And after that, the company kind of blew up. Wow. But it was crazy. They hired like 120 kids straight out of college. I was one of them. So it was a lot of fun. It was like a 5th year of college, except now they're paying you, not a lot, but something, right?
Well, they've got to keep the cost down, haven't they? Because it's $20 for a sneaker.
Exactly. But they weren't really running the best business. They ended up laying me and I think like 90% of the company off later that year or within the next year. So that was my first real taste of what the real world is like, getting laid off. So I was doing footwear there. And then my next job was, I took an unpaid internship with Pollen Design, which was, I thought, the coolest industrial design studio. Not so much from the outside, but once I was in and met the people, it just had the best vibe. The people were super nice, going out for drinks all the time. Really, really good team collective, and really, really amazing designers. But I wasn't very good. Good enough to get an internship, not good enough to get asked to stay around. Yeah. And then somebody put in their 2 weeks notice right before I was leaving. So I got to stay around for a couple months. Yeah. But again, looking back on it, I know I was not even close to capable enough of getting like a good industrial design job. There's so much work that just needs to be done, I think, for anybody when you're leaving school, but for me especially. I mean, the portfolios I see now are way better than what I had. After that, I worked at a company called Jimlar that was footwear design. Honestly, that was an experience that just helped me understand industrial design. Again, going back to that feeling from freshman year of college, those were the projects. That was the environment that was really hitting my brain the right way. That, you know, whether it's a emotional core, psychological core, intelligent core, I don't know what it is, but it's hitting all those marks for me, whereas footwear design just wasn't doing it. I did become extremely sharp in Adobe Illustrator.
Okay,
That's the one thing I always say to people. You know, when they ask me, how'd you learn Illustrator? Well, I use it every day for at least a year there. Basically, I reached back out to Pollen Design and reached out to a couple other places. Hey, I'm available for freelance, even though I wasn't. Pollen Design eventually called me back, or whatever we were doing in those days, and said, okay, we have one project for you. It's probably about 5 to 10 hours a week. If you want to take it. Immediately said yes. Immediately put in my 2 weeks notice at Jimlar. And then basically built up from there, starting with that one project, started freelancing for them a little more. Eventually I was still freelance, but full time, and was there for a number of months. And then I got an opportunity at Quirky. At the time, Quirky was this brand new startup. They had this tagline that was, we're designing one product a week. People on the internet are going to submit their ideas to us and we're going to design it. It wasn't quite so linear, but the motto was good. They were really good at marketing and communication, I will say. And that came about through the Pollen Design Network, actually. A former intern from Pollen Design who had been out for drinks with that group. When I had been there, we met. He was working at Quirky. He pulled me in, or when I interviewed, I guess, we recognized each other instantly. It was a very small team. And then, so I worked at Quirky for about 3 years. And that's where I always say I learned everything there. That was an extremely fast-paced startup environment. Doing one product a week doesn't sound fast-paced enough. I mean...
So what kind of products were they then?
I think the common thread was some sort of innovation. I'll say that. For the most part, they started to develop core competencies over time, which were, they're very famous for the Pivot Power Power Strip, which I was the lead designer on. That was an incredible experience of leading a design project when I was way too young and unqualified. But, you step up when the
best way to learn, isn't it, when you're out of your comfort zone?
Yeah. I don't know if I knew I was out of my comfort zone, to be honest. And they flew me to China a couple times where I got to work with the factory on that one, worked extremely closely with engineers, and that really propelled the company forward, especially in the electronics or power strip kind of space, or charging accessories. They were also doing a lot of kitchen stuff because when people are inventing at home, a lot of times they're sitting in their kitchen. They're either garage tinkerers or they're in their kitchen cooking or doing something, and they have an idea of how it could be better. So I think those were kind of the main areas they were playing in, but it wasn't like anything was off limits. It was really cool. And the CEO was a young guy, super energetic, really pushing the company forward and really putting the resources in the designers' hands. Like, we had a state-of-the-art 3D printer that, they had to shut down Broadway and crane lift this thing in through the window because it was so big and state-of-the-art at the time. It was nuts. And honestly, just an incredible place to work. And I know you're visiting New York, but as you network more, you're going to hear more about the Quirky diaspora and the tentacles of Quirky that have spread throughout.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because it blew up. I was there for 3 years. It was about 6 people when I started, something like 90 people when I left. I think they, over the next 3 years, went to like 300 plus people. And eventually dissolved.
What a shame.
As all startups, not all startups, a lot of startups.
Most, like 97%. But it's tough. It's a good run.
It's very tough, yeah.
So of those, and I've just realised, sorry, I saw it casting your eye, it must be like a red rag to a bull seeing a competitor's studio pin badge.
No, not at all.
Stuart I've just interviewed, he gave me a bunch of goodies, and one being a pin badge, which is quite cool, but realised I'm interviewing another consultancy leader.
It's okay. We got to work on our Leadoff Studio swag. We're working on it.
It's like a subtle kind of hint. Bring swag. No, it's all cool. We're quirky then. Like a product a week. I'm guessing a product a week didn't end up in production.
No, it was a product. It started out where a product a week was getting submitted.
Yeah.
And then, honestly, they opened the floodgates. Let's do 2 products a week that we choose.
Yeah.
Because they knew that not everything was going to get to production.
Yeah.
And then after a while, it became, let's just pick the good ideas.
Yeah.
Why would we limit it to 2 ideas?
Yeah.
Which, as a designer on the team, I was, it's like, oh my God, are you serious?
So it's failed faster than it's quirky. It's like,
looking back on it, I get it.
Yeah.
I really understand. Everything was broadcast over the internet, so competitors can see what we were doing.
Yeah.
We had to move super fast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was honestly the best training ground for an industrial designer possible.
So if you submitted an idea, would you get royalties if it was successful?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was their business model. And I think that there had always been what I would describe as cheesy companies that were doing that before, where you never knew if you were going to get it, and they were kind of shady. And Quirky was just so insanely transparent.
Yeah.
Here's, they'll put the picture of the inventor on the box. This guy is getting 30% of everything you buy from our website,
Nice.
and 10% of everything you buy from the store, whatever their model was.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Really cool to put everyday people first, and really cool to hook them up with not only expert industrial designers, but expert salespeople, expert marketers, expert product developers. I mean, Quirky just attracted great talent. So it was such an insane learning experience. And you'll see, like, I'm not the only person who started a company. There's so many people who have moved on to start their own companies from that company.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Is it still going in any kind of shape or form now, or is it completely dissolved?
So in my first year of Leadoff, I know that it had got sold at auction. So unfortunately they went bankrupt, right? And it got sold off at auction, and the new owners reached out to me because they knew that I was an alum and I had had some space from the company, whereas other people were a little more fresh. And I did a little bit of work for them, but after a while, I knew it wasn't a long-term fit for me and Leadoff. This was just really the first year where I was trying to just build a foundation, make sure we're keeping the lights on, and we keep going. I don't know where they're at today, to be honest. That's my long-winded way of saying that.
No, that's cool. Well, I hope they are still going in some shape or form, but obviously you then, very quickly after that, you moved on to Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, right? After Quirky, I'm going to be honest, it was tough to leave, but I just found it really tough to fit in anywhere else. Because Quirky was such a weird, unique place where, especially in the beginning, they wanted people who were really different and who would push back and do their own thing and drive their own projects. And that really fit me so well.
Yeah.
So when I'm interviewing at all these other companies, I could always get in the door for an interview.
Yeah.
With some of the best companies, but I could never get a job.
No.
I realized after many months, like, oh, I'm not actually a good fit at any of these companies, I see. So I started freelancing for some of my own clients and for some design consultancies locally, just on like contract work.
Yeah.
And honestly, at that stage in my life, it was just pretty lonely. So I took a freelance gig at Johnson & Johnson for about half a year.
Okay.
And then I got connected with a company called Souls that did 3D printed orthotics.
Cool.
And I just thought, wow, they're on the cutting edge of this new technology for manufacturing. It's a chance for me to design in a totally different way, where I have to work with engineers and design in code something that will be driven by an algebraic equation, often known as an algorithm, that is going to execute my design, but it's going to execute it all different ways. I mean, this is just like totally the opposite of I'm designing something in SolidWorks and we're going to send it off to get cut in steel. It was so different. So I took that. That was also a startup, though, I will say. And like we already touched on, not all of them last.
Yeah.
I came back from New Year's break, January 4th, they lay off almost the whole company.
Yeah.
Now, the thing for me, I really wasn't too happy there. Because again, I'm realizing like, oh, I don't really fit in
Yeah.
at yet another company. But also I was expecting my first child. My daughter was going to be born at the end of January. And kind of later in the year with Souls, the year before that, they gave me a little raise, and I said, okay, they're paying me. Let me be a responsible adult. Don't worry about like your day-to-day, Jordan. You have a kid on the way. You gotta make money and bring home money.
Yeah.
When they laid me off, a weight was lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah.
It was so counterintuitive to most people, but again, I don't fit in anywhere. I'm not normal. I was so happy. You have no idea. And if any of the people from Salt are listening, you might know that already. You might not. I don't know if that's.
It's been a period of time.
Exactly. I think we can be honest now.
Hey, they laid you off after all, so don't feel bad.
No. I'm very transparent. That's the thing. So I was so happy. And of course I knew like, okay, this is awesome, but I do have a kid on the way. 2 to 3 weeks, this is happening. So I did do a little bit of freelance work on the side while I was at Souls, usually one project at a time. So I had that going on. Just immediately hit up my network from when I was doing the freelance after Quirky. Yeah. And just let everybody know I'm available. I'm here. I didn't think that I would get a full-time job, and also just didn't, after those experiences, just felt like I can't keep interviewing like I did after Quirky. I'm not fitting in anywhere. Let me just try this. Ever since those yearbook days, I knew I wanted to try to start my own company. You also should know, I come from a long line of entrepreneurs. Okay. My dad's an entrepreneur. My grandfather's an entrepreneur. All the people in my grandfather's generation were entrepreneurs because they came to the U.S. A lot of them came from Cuba. Okay. We're also Jewish, so we're like getting double discriminated against in that generation. Yeah, they had to start their own businesses. Yeah. And then my dad, being around that, he always told me, he's like, it just felt like the only path was to start my own business because that's just everybody I knew. And then when he told me that, I was like, oh, well, if they all did it, maybe I should do it one day. So it just felt like, okay, even though I had a kid on the way, that is the worst time to do it. It also felt like the best time.
It's highly motivating, though. You've got some kind of peril.
Yeah, and you know what? That first year was so great because I was in charge of my own work, life balance. I really got to balance it well. Yeah. My wife ended up leaving her job, take care of the kid full time for that first year. I got an office that was a 5-minute walk from our apartment. Oh, perfect. I saw both of them so often. Yeah. Every single day I got to spend so much time. It was great. It ended up being so great. Was I making tons and tons of money? No. But there's no time where I'm ever looking back and saying the money was the best thing in my life. You look back and you say the family and the time, the people. That's always it.
Absolutely. So, you'll never have enough money.
Exactly.
That's the cruel thing about kind of money is there's never enough. Equally, you'll never have enough time. So I'd prioritize time.
So those are the shaky grounds that Leadoff got started off.
No, it's great. I want to flip it around slightly. So obviously you haven't really fit, or by your own words, you've not fit in with cultures. So flipping it around now as a business owner with a small team, how does that play into how you hire? Because are you building a team of odd ones out, or are there a team of people that kind of are your kind of odd one?
I would say it's definitely everybody is their own person at Leadoff Studio. The values that we have are not about, do you like this movie or whatever. It's more about what is driving you at the end of the day, and what kind of life do you want to live, and what kind of world do you want to have? What do you want to do with your day every day? And that's, one of our core values is design excellence. We all really, really, really want to make great designed objects. Another one is positivity. That's a huge one for me. And I think some of the places that I've worked in the past, none specifically, but I know as a designer, we always think something's not good enough, or we look at everything and think, how would I design that, right? And I think there's two ways to phrase that. It's not, this sucks, that's garbage, that's trash. I like to look at it, how can we make this better? what would we do better? Or what would we do if we had the chance and the opportunity to design this? How will we go and make it better?
Yeah. That reframing is infectious as well, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I read into NLP like years ago. I used to work for a search consultancy, and we went all in on kind of NLP and on psychometrics, and just repositioning, swapping out one or two words in a sentence that essentially mean the same thing can have such a big impact on the way it's delivered, the way it's received, and it's the classic kind of glass half full, isn't it?
Exactly.
It works.
I think so much of design is communication.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously coming from CMU, they call it graphic design, communication design.
Yeah.
But even the industrial design, I always tell my team, we are doing so much great work, but when we get time to presentation, we have to communicate that great work. And so much of communication is verbal, so much of it is body language. In design, so much of it is visual.
Yeah.
But you're telling the client things, you're telling the user things with your design, whether it's visual, tactile, it could be smell, it could be color. There's so many cues that we have to use to communicate. And of course, verbal communication is probably the most baseline.
Yeah. Huge. So you touched on the values there, and you were kind enough to let me take a photo of them yesterday, which has gone out to that. Not sure when this episode will air, but we'll probably repost the photo when it does. But talk us through your values then, and as we discussed yesterday, some people have kind of moved away from that. It became a bit of a cliche to have your values on the wall. It was a HR thing that didn't really mean anything. It was just there in the lobby. But in my experience, if you hire and or try to hire based on kind of the core values that actually are core values rather than just buzzwords, that's where you are going to find kind of the misfits that fit, I think. But maybe talk us through your kind of your values and why. You've already touched on a couple.
Sure. So I think it's really important to first understand why you need to have core values, right? So exactly.
I like
just
it when you bring
pointed to
it
the
back.
title of the podcast. So you're right. It can't just be HR buzzwords that might get a little excitement, but ultimately it's empty. I looked at it like, okay, I want to build the studio up a little more. I want to bring on more people. I even might be more stepping into more of a business role, less of a hands-on design role. So how am I going to get the right people to be here? And then think about, okay, what are the things that are most important to me about Leadoff Studio? And as we scale that, what are the checkpoints that I'm going to be making sure that everybody here has? Part of it was also looking at the people who have worked at Leadoff Studio who were successful, and some of the people who were not successful, and trying to really analyze that. Why were they not the right fit?
When it came to choosing the core values, was that an exercise that you kind of you reflected on, that you did yourself, or did you involve the team in kind of coming up with the values as well?
Yeah, actually I did involve the team.
Yeah.
So this was while I was in a class called the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses.
Yeah.
It's a class for small businesses, for founders or CEOs of small businesses who are looking for help and guidance on how to scale. And scaling, it can mean 1000x, it can mean 2x. It means whatever you want. That's the beautiful thing about that class in particular. They really give you the framework and let you define it, which I really loved. I would work on it at the class, and then I would bring it back to our team, which was, I'll say, 2.5 people at the time. We had one person who was part-time coming on to full-time, ended up not staying, but for life reasons, not fit reasons. And yeah, we went through them, and there were some that jumped on or fell off. It was important to me not to have too many also.
Yeah.
And I wanted to cut it off at 5. I don't know. That's just my personal, don't want too many things there. Gets complicated. But I definitely wanted them to buy into it because I wanted to make sure, I felt like the team that we had at the time was my foundation for how we're going to grow. And if I could just replicate, the three of us, keep building that. Again, doesn't have to be the same taste in movies. I'm really the only one who likes basketball. They think I'm crazy when I talk about it. But, the people who strive for design excellence, who are positive people, we always say with team, somebody else's achievements on our team should be just as important to you as your own achievement. If somebody's project wins an award, that should be a moment to celebrate, even if you weren't involved in it.
Yeah.
And if you truly feel that way, then you're a good fit for this team. And I will say, like, knock on wood or leather, I think we actually have that team right now. It's amazing, and I'm so hesitant to touch this chemistry. But so the other core values, Tikkun Olam, that's it's actually a Jewish cultural value. Literally translates to repair the world.
I love that.
Yeah, I always think of it as leave the world better than you found it. So what are you contributing to the world? Whether it's huge, whether it's big, whether it's small, just leave a positive impact on this world. And I think that for a lot of designers, we automatically feel that way, but I want to make sure that you need to feel that way for sure when you work at Leadoff. And then the other one is growth. So on the sign that you took a picture of, we have 3 parallel lines: individual, studio, and client. Obviously, the clients are coming to us looking to grow their business. Usually their business is focused around a physical product, and we are, another sports term, we're the leadoff hitter for them. It's a baseball term. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how.
Is that where the name came from? Is it?
Yeah, that's where it came from.
Okay.
Yeah. I always thought also the leadoff hitter in baseball is really the only one with some swagger. So,
right. Okay. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. So the client's coming to us to grow. The individual has to want to grow and can't just be okay with, well, I'm here, I made it. It's no, what's next for you?
Yeah.
And that can be professional, that can be personal. It's something I ask my team. I meet with each person every quarter, and we talk about personal goals. Sometimes they're very career oriented. Sometimes they're totally personal, and that's cool. Thanks for putting it on my radar. Yeah. Let me see what I can do to help, or let me see what Leadoff can do to help. And then, of course, we want Leadoff to grow as well. Yeah.
It's so easy as a manager or leader of people to, when you're having those sit downs, to focus on business objectives. And I think the employees kind of fall into that kind of trap as well. Is I can only talk about business here. I can only talk about kind of what I'm employed to do. But work and home and life, they're all intertwined anyway. They'll impact each other to a certain degree. And as a boss, knowing what makes someone tick and what they're driving towards, if there's some way you can positively influence that in kind of what you're doing and how you're leading them, or the kind of opportunities you give them, that are going to have a beneficial impact on the business as well, then it's why wouldn't you kind of want them to talk about that? That's
exactly. Awesome. I mean, it goes back to what we were saying about my experience with that first year of Leadoff, and exactly what I said. I wasn't making that much money. That's okay though, but that's not something that I look back and think about the hardship. I think about, I got to spend so much time with my daughter in the first year of life. That is so amazing, and I want to make sure that when people have goals in their personal life, we're supporting that. It's so important.
Oh yeah. That's the thing that kind of, all of those things kind of keep people in the business and driving in the same direction, in my experience. So fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. So you launched in 2016. The business has remained quite small by design, focused on high quality execution and brand aligned partnerships. Looking back, what was the initial vision for the studio? Sounds like that maybe came a little bit later in terms of the vision, yeah. And how has that changed?
Hey guys, just a quick one from me and then we'll get straight back to the episode. If you've ever felt like your pipeline is keeping you up at night, or you're not quite sure where to go next in your design career, and what you really want is to feel more in control of your business, your pipeline, your next move, maybe even be the person your peers or competitors look to and think, they're onto something. Then check out the Why Design community. It's full of founders, leaders, engineers and designers working in hardware and physical product development. We share insights, run online and in-person meetups, collaborate on projects and help each other figure out what's working and what's not. If that sounds useful, head over to teamkodu.com/events to sign up. It's free, low pressure, and genuinely made for people like you. Okay, let's get back to the episode.
I guess there's two signposts there in terms of the original kind of vision, if there was one, and then the more refined one. What does that look like now?
So when I started the studio, absolutely no vision.
Yeah.
You're right. It was very much like, well, let me see what I can do, right? In that first year, we were okay. I think towards the end of the year, I started hiring some interns to help me out.
Mm-hmm.
The next year, my wife, Jessica, joined the studio full time, and she would always pitched in that first year too. So we always say she's the co-founder. And then, we hired our first employee after the second year. And that's when I started to think a little bit more about, okay, where do we actually want to take this? And I think I always had a vision in my head of like what I wanted or what I could see. But it really wasn't until I was in the 10,000 small business class that as a CEO, well, first of all, I think you need to think of yourself as a CEO if you're running your business. One thing that they told me right away is you can't be the CEO and the president. And I think in small studio terms, I would say the design director is kind of the president. One change that we've made in the last couple of years, we did hire a design director. So this way I can run more of the business and help us achieve those growth goals.
Oh, brilliant.
And also just work more with the clients on their business and be more strategic to them rather than focusing on each minute detail of the design, which as a team we do, but doesn't need to necessarily be me.
Yeah.
And that's the power of the team. Anyway, I know I go off on tangents.
Oh, I love it. It's great.
When I actually got to sit down and think about it, what I really always loved in those first couple of years was working on health and wellness products. And that kind of became a directive for how I wanted to push our studio forward. I kind of looked at the landscape of industrial design studios. Now, if you ask any business advisor, they're always telling you need to pick a niche. And that is so antithetical to creatives. We want to do everything we can and then some, and then give us something new when we're done with that. When I was in that class, I was really thinking, okay, let me work with the framework here, and I can always ditch it if I don't like it. I looked at our portfolio. I looked at the products that we had done. I looked at the clients that we'd worked with. The health and wellness ones really stuck out to me, whether it was working with Roman and helping them blow up. I mean, we started working with them when it was 2 founders.
Wow.
Now they're worth a couple $1 billion. They're humongous now. And they're like sponsoring college bowl games. Working with Dame Products and helping them also kind of blow up. They had 2 products before us, and then we worked with them on their 2 next products, one of which is still their bestseller to this day. And it's kind of become like their flagship product that they're known for.
Amazing.
Yeah. And they're absolutely a leader in the sexual wellness space too. So it's so cool when people come to us and say, whoa, you guys designed Dame? Love that company. So we just wanted more of that, products that actually help people or working with clients that are looking to help people. And that goes back to the Tikkun Olam.
Yeah.
So all these things are kind of weaving together at the same time, how I'm envisioning the company, but also how do we build a framework to build towards that company, towards that vision. So the first thing was, somebody used the phrase once, niching down. I don't necessarily think of it as niching down. I think of it more as actually communicating the niche that we're already thriving in and what we want to do. So
it's clear positioning, isn't it? And that's a topic that comes up in a lot of conversations I have with studios big and small. But that's often where companies that are struggling, consultancies that are struggling because they'll blame the market, it's because they don't have a clear position. They don't have you say niche, I say niche, Let's call the whole thing off.
Well, in my heart, I'm just the dude from New Jersey, so I pronounce some things weird.
Well, it rhymes better as well, doesn't it? Alex Mosley says the riches are in the niches. As soon as I say the riches are in the niches, it's like, what on earth is this guy talking about? I can't come up with a better rhyme. But you know, it's true. You know, you don't need to please everyone, because you never will.
Yeah.
But you can take a small market. I mean, you know, the industry that you're serving is bloody huge, isn't it? So, but it's not the whole market, but you can get more of that small and do better and quicker and have better results for everyone.
The health and wellness industry, part of deciding to really focus there also was that it is far-reaching. It covers a lot of ground between fitness, pharmaceuticals, sleep. I mean, there's so many different things.
Yeah.
Wellness is kind of just covers many, many things in the abstract.
Yeah.
But we just love doing those products and really love getting into the mindset of somebody who's trying to improve their life with a product that our client is getting to them.
I think it's great what you're doing. So we bounced around my kind of play order here slightly, which
I'm
is
known to do that. Sorry.
Well, it's me as well. I purposely dived ahead because you were talking about your values. I was like, yeah, that's section 4. We're only on 1. I do want to touch back on that though. You know, obviously your team's quite small in our job, but when it comes to hiring and thinking specifically around values and the alignment there, how have you, since kind of your training, coming up, like sharing the values, how has that impacted, or how do you implement that into your hiring process?
Well, from the start, we put it right there in the job ad.
Yeah.
So it says, you know, we want people who use design to make the world a better place. We want people who are striving for design excellence. We want people who notice when a teammate achieves something and they're, you know, maybe even more proud of that than their own achievement. Obviously, if people send that or feed that back to me in a job application, I take notice.
Yeah.
If they mention that in the interview, they don't have to mention those things necessarily, but I am kind of keeping an ear open for them.
Yeah.
And to try to see how do I find out about these things that are kind of more ephemeral or abstract, because it is a little hard to know.
Yeah. Have you got specific questions or tasks that you ask people to do specifically to try and tease out where they might align or not so?
Yeah, I never ask people to do tasks because I've been in that position and it's, in my opinion, a little demeaning. Designers have portfolios, and if you don't have a portfolio, then you're not going to get a design job with us. I would think with most studios, but that should be enough. If you haven't put together a portfolio that really demonstrates what you're capable of, then that's, you know, like I said, design's communication. You got to communicate that.
Absolutely, yeah. I interviewed, I think it was Christian Reed, who mentioned that he'd been building a portfolio from high school. Yeah. Basically, just any project he did, or like at school or on the side, you know, he just got in the habit of storytelling. So when social media took off, he already had all these stories that he could start sharing. And his portfolio says it was never more than kind of, you know, an hour away from having an updated portfolio. But he'd always have something that, if he was on a conversation, he could send over something that was pretty recent, you know. Whereas, you know, I'll speak to designers who are fully into their job search and say, "Oh, give me a few days to update my portfolio." It's like, why are we talking if you haven't got enough? Are you really searching for work?
You got to be ready.
Yeah.
Any opportunity.
You got to go. It's interesting your take on the task, because it's a fairly controversial kind of topic. You know, you've got people who swear by it, and people that will set. You know, some companies, I think it's a bit of a power play, to be honest with you, in terms of, you know, you can't join this. This is what I did to get to this company. I had to spend 10 hours doing this task. No, it's like we don't. That might have been okay 15 years ago, but it's, you know, it's not very inclusive.
Yeah, I mean, even in the business world, design should be getting more respect, and I think that that has grown tremendously over the years, even in my not super long career. But I mean, it has to come from within. Also, I think designers need to respect other designers and respect their time, respect their talent.
Yeah.
Look, we get a lot of portfolios emailed to us if we put up a job ad. I mean, hundreds. The good ones are there. I don't need to ask somebody to do a task after that. We can see what people can do. So in terms of hitting those values in the interview, usually we ask people to walk us through those projects.
Yeah.
We can really tell how their teamwork is when they talk about collaboration. We do ask about collaboration. I mean, positivity is kind of one that you get from talking to people and just understanding, hey, this is their hour to impress you. What kind of vibe are they bringing to the table, right?
Yeah.
It's much easier when we're in the room with somebody, but, you know, part of the positivity one is we want to be around people who we want to be around, positive people, you know?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So spending time with people, and, you know, I think some of my clients, some of the people I've worked with over the years, they will have long processes, not necessarily in terms of like testing, but they'll like after a second stage, they'll purposely go out for lunch or have like a 4-hour session so that the interview kind of mask tends to drop a little bit and you tend to get more personality.
Gotcha.
Designers tend to be pretty good at just being themselves and open, but there's always an element of kind of interview performance as well, which is very difficult to keep up. It's the same, like, just having spent that time with you yesterday, having kind of met you online a couple of times as well, it makes this whole kind of experience a lot more natural and the rapport. So it's, you know, if you're going to spend some time with someone.
Absolutely. I mean, we do a couple rounds of interviews for sure. Usually you're interviewing me like at least once, if not twice or 3 times. And then you're probably meeting with the team or a couple members from the team.
Yeah.
And we all talk about do we think that this person is touching on all the core values? Do we think that they're going to bring something unique to the team also? That's really important. Yeah.
Cool. On the topic of portfolios, and I know you're a very positive person, but this is like a little safe space to have a little moan. This is a new section we decided to do just in the last episode, actually. What other things have you seen, I guess more recently, in applications or portfolios in particular, that you really kind of think, why? Why have they done that? Or, you know, things that really turn you off? We will turn it around to a positive at the end.
No, it's okay. I see this as critique and how, again, just giving back to the community. So
there's the positive spin straight away.
these are things that I would have wanted to know.
Yeah.
I think that, well, all right, my strategy that I share with people of what they should do with their portfolio, think of it like movie poster, movie trailer, movie. Send out the movie poster. Get somebody to look twice at it. Maybe that's in an email. Maybe it's a JPEG in line in the email or whatever. Something that gets our attention. Then send us the short portfolio, the movie trailer that has the explosions and all the cool stuff. It makes us say, wow, this designer has a lot of talent. I want to know the stories behind these projects. And then come in for the full movie, that's the interview, and tell us what each project is about that you're putting in that movie trailer, right?
That's interesting.
And by movie trailer, I mean PDF or something quick. I would say the things that go against that grain that I notice, a lot of people obviously have a website, which can be fine. Just make sure that your website has extremely easy user experience. If it's hard user experience, it's bad. It's you're out basically.
Yeah.
And then I would say a lot of designers, especially young designers, industrial designers in particular, are not graphic designers, so they shouldn't overdo it on the graphic design. I always say, like, make your portfolio Craigslist if you need to.
Yeah.
That's okay. Make it about the images. Don't make it about the typography. The other one that's just really tough and I think always a challenge, and if somebody does this well, it really stands out, showing research in an engaging way.
Yeah.
For a lot of designers, and again, especially young designers, you've been through this whole project. It was an epic, long project, and you want to tell everybody every last detail of it. But sometimes that's pretty boring to read, and it's not engaging.
Yeah.
It's really hard to communicate that stuff visually in an exciting way. I always think at the end of the day, like, our job's exciting. We're making exciting stuff. We want people to look twice and go back and pick up our product and think, wow, this thing's so cool. How'd they think of this? How'd they design this?
Yeah.
You know, we want things that last and have that impact. So that's all part of the communication. And hey, being able to communicate some research is very tough. I always think, what are the key moments in the research? And really try to hit on that. And don't worry about all the data collection and pie charts and line charts and things like that. That's the stuff that we'll scroll right by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
And by the way, that's not to say research is not important. It is important. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just always a challenge to send it to somebody who is uninitiated. Right?
I think it's choosing what to share. It's showing that you can do. You don't need to show every single step of kind of the research or all your data. Just the fact that if you've got some kind of snapshots of kind of the key exciting bits or the challenges, you know, you could infer that there's been a bunch of less exciting stuff that's gone on there that wouldn't necessarily make a cool story in your portfolio.
Yeah. I always think save the research for the in-person interview where you're really going into, and this is how that was made. This is all the thought that went into it.
Absolutely, yeah. I think on websites as well, I always advise designers and kind of more techie design engineers, if they keep portfolios, PDF is your friend here, because you know, when you come to storytelling, PDF's a very easy one to control the narrative of the story and the flow. As soon as you send someone to a website, especially if it's like a template, like a gallery website, you lose control of where that person clicks. They might see a little thumbnail or something they think is interesting, but doesn't actually show kind of the stuff they need to see to determine whether you're a good candidate or not. It just might be that one was shiny, but doesn't show the right process. And then they've only got a certain amount of time before they've got to move on to the next website. So you could miss them, even though you could be perfect. Whereas, I like your analogy of the trailer. I used to say that to juniors as well. It's like, but I didn't do the one pager. I like the poster, trailer, and movie analogy, because it's right, isn't it? It just works.
Yeah.
So awesome. What was it that drove? Like at what point did you realise actually I probably need someone to come and do this stuff?
Yeah. So I think as a business owner or CEO, anytime you have this feeling, it's kind of a sign that you need to.
Yeah.
There's a long list of marketing things we need to do. Anytime I try to do them myself, it takes me a very, very long time. My core competency is industrial design. I can do that fast and efficiently. I'm confident in it. When I do the marketing stuff, even if it's like submitting for a design award, I'm like poring over like the phrasing and the words and making sure everything is absolutely perfect. I'm like, I know there's people out there who are much more efficient at this than me, and who actually know the ins and outs of this without me having to go and read and completely educate myself on this, because I'm already wearing too many hats. I can't take on another hat. So that's basically it. That's kind of the red flag for any hire, I think.
Yeah. If you're ever at your desk, kind of clutching your hair, just going, why is it taking me so long to do this? It should be a very straightforward task.
Yeah.
You know, it's a hard thing to recognize, but also kind of take action on. I think sometimes, especially when you're a small business. But that's the key to scaling, or one of the keys to scaling is delegating, which I'm sure came up on your course as well, didn't it? Awesome. So let's talk about kind of Jordan outside of work then. So you're balancing studio life with being a parent, a partner. You kind of integrated into the New York design community as well. Get the sense you just kind of like getting out and networking. How are you balancing leading a business with everything else in life now? It's very different to when you started, isn't it?
Oh, so. Yeah, tremendously. Well, I have 2 kids, so I said this to somebody recently. They told me they're a couple weeks away from having a second kid.
All right. Okay.
It's way more than just +1. It's a
yeah.
lot more. Yeah. To be honest, I have 2 kids, so I don't really have a life. No. Like family time is a huge part of my life. I mean, I really lament the days where I have to stay very late, and I think now that we have a team or a bigger team around, it's pretty infrequent that I have to stay very late.
Yeah.
And I also tell our team, like, don't stay late unless this is like mission critical. Like I always say, it's just design for the most part. We're all going to be okay.
Yeah, the world's not going to end if this deadline goes on Monday rather than Friday. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, outside of running the business and having 2 kids, I'd like to ride my bike sometimes, like to watch basketball, those kind of things.
Yeah. Do you get to many games?
No, not really. I haven't been to a Knicks game in a while. You know, I started going to Liberty games with my daughter about 2 years ago. And that's been really cool.
Is Liberty the college?
No, Liberty's the WNBA. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
So they play at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. That's where the Brooklyn Nets play. We went to a game, I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago for the first time. And they only sold tickets for what's called the lower bowl, the lower half of the stadium.
Yeah.
And then it's just been very cool to see the transition where we went to a game towards the end of the last season, which they won the championship. Completely sold out stadium.
That's awesome.
The full stadium. So it was wild. It's great.
Is it the same? No, I've only been to a college basketball game. I went to see Texas Longhorns versus Chicago State, and the atmosphere was wild. So it's very different to the atmosphere in sporting events back home, but it was just unreal, like fantastic kind of. But it seemed like everything just stopped, like every few minutes, just for a timeout and a little dance for the cheerleaders and someone celebrating something. It was just an experience. Is it the same in women's basketball? Is it kind of?
Yeah, I would say it's really cool to see. WNBA is like absolutely taken off. I think obviously Caitlin Clark is kind of like the big name, but there's so many other good players, and I think it's just all coalescing at the right time.
That's cool.
Yeah, the atmosphere, it's really different from the Brooklyn Nets and from the New York Knicks. Those are the men's teams in New York.
Well, I'm guessing you're a Knicks fan, giving you a T-shirt.
That's right. We just got knocked out of the playoffs like a week ago, but it's okay.
That's all right.
It was a great success. Because it's been a rough 25 years, so it was nice that they made it this far. But no, it's actually interesting. I think the WNBA crowd is definitely younger and like way more. I mean, obviously, there's more females. Or just a better balance, I would say, in general. Whereas I think the NBA had less balance. But it's interesting because the WNBA crowd, the Liberty crowd that I've experienced, I don't know if this is everybody's experience, way crazier than the Nets games.
Right.
The Nets games are probably the most tame. And then the Knicks, they play in Madison Square Garden, so it's a different stadium.
Okay, yeah.
I think that one is just, I mean, it's just noisy no matter what. I went to more games when the Knicks were really bad. But even some of those games got crazy. If the Knicks were starting to make a little run, it's just absolutely nuts and loud. Because I think New York just loves basketball. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's awesome. I mean, I liken it to football in the UK. Obviously, the Women's League is getting stronger and stronger. The women's England team did quite well winning the Euros a couple of years ago. And I went to a women's, I think a women's team friendly probably about 2 years ago. And compared to the men's sport, where it's quite tribal and some of the crowds can be really nasty. And vulgar in terms of some of the chants, The women's team was just like a carnival. It was like it was just a great party atmosphere. There's Mexican waves going around the stage. Obviously, it was friendly, so there's nothing on the line, but it's just absolutely fantastic to be in.
That's how I would say the difference. I've seen between the Knicks and the Liberty. Liberty's way more family friendly, like way more of a positive, fun time, and the Knicks, like yeah, you hear some people yelling some things at the players, but hey, that's New York. You got to come and play. So.
Awesome. Right, we're coming towards the end of our time. I've thoroughly enjoyed sitting down with you again on this, but let's talk, just kind of round this off with what's next. I mean, you always talk, we spoke yesterday about the long game and around values, partnerships, positioning, but in the more kind of immediate term, what are you most excited about in the next 12 months for yourself and Leadoff?
So what I'm really excited about, we haven't had a lot of products added to our portfolio, or projects added to our portfolio in the last year or so, or 2 years. We're going to have a lot of stuff come out. About 2 years ago, we started doing branding for our clients.
Awesome.
So the backstory, a lot of our clients, especially after we start doing our design work for them, they love us. They want us to do more. Hey, you know what? I'm starting this business. Can you guys do my logo too?
Yeah.
I used to always turn them away. And then they'd come back and they'd have a logo. And sometimes we just feel like, well, we could have done better than this.
Yeah.
So I started to really focus on, okay, how do we add this? And now I think we have like 5 or so products that all followed that exact storyline, where we started doing the product design, and then, hey, we could do your logo too. We could do your whole brand. We can create the visual look and feel of what you are trying to launch here.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see these products come out and into the world and see how people react to them.
Awesome.
That we've done the full service industrial design, brand, logo. We've done the packaging. And these are all in the health and wellness sphere. So it's
amazing.
It's going to be really excited that this is where I've been trying to focus the company, and now we're going to actually be able to really present that to the world.
That's going to be so rewarding.
Yeah.
To see that plan kind of come to fruition and be able to share it as well, because I guess most of the work is done now. You're just waiting for it to go.
Well, it's done, but also for a lot of our clients, we work on the manufacturing as well.
Okay, yeah.
So the fun part is the design. The manufacturing is like, now we're in the trenches. Now we're trying to get this out. We're working on all the nitty gritty with engineers, with the factory, with our client, making sure they're always their business is protected and taken care of. But yeah, we're going to see some things coming out, and I'm really excited about it.
Exciting. You have to keep me posted so we can share it. I'd love to see kind of that when it comes out.
Yeah.
And we'll tag it, I
was going to say the cool thing for me, I really want to see, can people identify the brand by looking at the product, and can they identify the product by looking at the brand? Because the feedback that we've gotten so far when I show people any of these NDA kind of level case studies is they say that we've done a good job at tying those together.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see, will that actually come to fruition? Will the general public feel that? Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
I look forward to see that. So final question, books or podcasts that you're kind of listening to or would recommend anyone really listening to kind of add to their reading or listening list?
Design focused, preferably?
It's up to you.
Well, for design focused, I think Hartmut Esslinger, the founder of Frog Design, he's wrote a number of books. Honestly, I recommend all of them.
Yeah.
There's some repetition between them, but that's okay. They're honestly great as somebody who loves design, but also is interested in growing a business, but also is interested in how do you give your clients deeper service than just here's a nice looking object. I mean, that's really what Frog Design did so well and was able to scale to a huge size. I have no ambition of going that huge, but I mean, he's like the original, I think.
Yeah.
Really, really one of the best. And then for podcast, I'll double down on that. He was recently on Dan Harden's podcast, the Whipsaw founder.
Yeah, I'm interviewing him Thursday on video. He's not, well, I'd love to get him in, but he's the other side of the country.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
I believe that Dan used to work at Frog Design for a decade or so. So he knows Hartmut Esslinger very well and was able to interview him really, really well. They said at the top of the podcast he doesn't do many interviews, so
Yeah.
I thought that got my attention. You know?
I mean, Dan's an industry legend, though, isn't he, as well? So it's like two legends kind of coming together. It's like, yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Again, as a designer who's also like a founder, these are two people that I definitely look up to. So to hear them talk with each other on that podcast, that was great. I highly recommend that one.
Brilliant. Well, yeah, he's coming on the show. We've got Brett Lovelady as well,
Nice.
who I've already interviewed, so he's stacked up. So I don't know if you know those guys, but I'll definitely connect you with them as part of the podcast kind of community. So yeah, that would be awesome. Just anything else that's like really stuck with you recently, you know, that you think is worth sharing whilst we've got the mics and the videos? Definitely put you on the spot there, haven't it?
Wow. No, that's a tough one. I don't think there's anything that's sticking out of my mind. Honestly, thank you for doing this. Thank you for having this podcast. This is really fun. And
yeah, it's great having you in.
Really cool that you're giving designers this platform to talk to people. And honestly, I know for aspiring designers, it's hard to find content where you're hearing directly from other designers or people who have started design agencies. Like, I was always grasping for that content when I was in my, my footwear transitioning to industrial design days. Like, how do I break into this? And I think just the more good insights that we could get to designers in that position, it's just going to be better for the industry. You're going to have more people, better people, better
Absolutely,
design.
yeah. Even if, one thing I love about this podcast is, when people take it upon themselves to reach out to my guests, whether they be connected to the show or they've just listened. I hear stories like every week about kind of people that have reached out to guests, and generally speaking, the people I interview are nice kind of people. They want to give back. And they'll give their time for people, and I think that's obviously we want some nice key takeaways from this. They make great little short videos and kind of content, but there's nothing like speaking to a founder and but I think a lot of people don't know where to go.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thank you so much for being on the show, and we'll catch up soon.
My pleasure. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Why Design, proudly powered by Kodu. If you got something out of today's conversation, I'd love it if you could leave a quick review or share the episode with someone who will find it useful. It really helps more people discover the show. And if you're working in hardware or physical product development, whether you're a founder, leader, engineer or designer, come and join the Why Design community. We're running events, sharing insights and connecting people who are building great things. You can sign up at teamkodu.com/events or just drop me a note on LinkedIn. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.